everyone. I am so excited to be doing this live. This is going to be something new that comes to the channel, hopefully on a regular basis. This is my friend, Coach Ashley. Her and I met in a business community that we are in every single week with our mentor, Francine Ivy. I'm big on sharing people's names and who has helped support me, so you'll definitely see me name drop a lot of different people throughout doing lives. And thank you so much for coming on, Ashley.
Yes, I'm glad to do it. I think it's great to just have the conversation, visit, and just hang out because you and I meet all the time. So we'll see if we can spread the love and help others too.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great aspect to have. And I apologize if I stop talking randomly. With doing it on my phone, I realize I'm still getting notifications. I'm like, oh, whoops. It's just life and being mom as I'm holding my son as we're talking, trying to keep him off camera. In that, today, Ashley and I wanted to come on and give tangible, helpful steps to other mamas that we've talked about in the past of not having a quote unquote balanced motherhood and business because we're both entrepreneurs and both busy. I'm a mama of one toddler, and Ashley's a mama of three, not toddlers, but older children that keep her definitely busy and on her toes. And in that,
it's the same life, just a different age. Like I really think back to when they were little, and it's still the same chaos.
That encourages me a little bit of like, oh, if I can do this, it'll be good. But then at the same time, I'm like, oh, good, it's just gonna be chaos throughout.
It is. It does not sound encouraging, but it's it just I think it teaches you that humility and just don't worry about everything in every spot, and it's just going to happen for a little bit of time. Yes, they're going to be that age for just a season, but you're going to be a mom forever. So that doesn't change. Like you saw the kids come through a little bit ago, and I was like, all right, listen, this is what we need. So
yes, I 100% agree on that, as my little guy is trying to play with the keyboard as I'm trying to talk. There we go. Let's see. Perfect. I've got things falling and all the things over here, but we're good. This is real life motherhood, and that's why I want to be real and open and honest with all of you that get to tune in, because it gets to be all of it, and we weren't called to do it and not messy. And the thing God has called us to do, I truly believe if He's given you the vision and insight for the business, He will give you His strength and the capacity to do it, not in our own fleshly strength. Because if I just relied on myself through this, I would go crazy, if I'm being honest.
Oh, that's huge. Yeah, that's huge. And that also makes me think of God's the one who gave us the gifts and the skills and the capacity to be able to do it. And so he'll also give us the ability, the time, and the patience to do it. And we don't have to take on those burdens ourselves and take on those stressors. It's something that kind of relieves you of the pressure of having to do it right, because maybe it's not supposed to be right. It's just supposed to be done, and it's supposed to be authentic, and it's supposed to be real, and it's just supposed to be finished. Whatever the finish looks like, it doesn't have to be a certain way, as long as you're living passionately and faithfully through him on the journey. The journey was set by him. Who are you to determine what that journey looks like and cause stress and anxiety along the way, right? That we talked about today too. So yeah, totally. I mean, it's amazing that you can, because when mine were your age, your baby's age, I was at an office. I was working. My kids were in daycare. I wasn't able to sit and hang out with them and really build those connections and those bonds with them, with me, while I was working throughout the day. And so instead of being stressed and tense during those days, allow it to be whatever rhythm he has set and whatever he's decided for you for this stage.
Yes. And I think it's funny that you share all that, because as you were talking, my toddler is ripping sticky notes I had on the wall off. And I'm like, yep, we don't plan this. And sometimes it's going to not be perfect and messy and all the things, but you just got to keep going with it. I also like that you brought up the aspect of rhythms, because that brings me back to what we were originally wanting to talk about in setting up rhythms compared to balance in motherhood. And for the mamas that are watching, the reason that I am a big advocate of having rhythms instead of balance is you truly can't have 50-50 balance of business every single day and motherhood. Especially, I believe that Ashley could probably speak into that even more as having multiple children. There is no such thing as balance. I'm learning that with just one, so I'm sure it just multiplies as you add more to the family. And in that, I want to walk through with her to show you of how to really set rhythms within your day to day that are encouraging, are helpful, and number one, all focus on Christ, because I want to, time and time again, to point you back to Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, because he's the reason we're doing all of it anyways. And if he's called you to do this business, like I said before, I really believe that he's going to give you the insight to be able to do both. So in that, Ashley, is there anything else you wanted to add to that? I didn't want to cut you off.
No, I think that that's so good, and because you try so hard to set up the rhythms. Sometimes you wonder if you're doing it right, and everything changes. So don't feel like the rhythms have to be set forever, right? They will change, they will shift as sleep schedules change, right? That we were just talking about too.
Yes.
When naps happen and when your wake ups happen. And so everything's always going to be changing. But yeah, this was something, and it was awesome when you brought this up to me, the rhythm kind of framework, because I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm a seasoned mom because mine are older, like my oldest is 11, but I don't have a little one like you do. So I would want to think that I've figured other things out that you haven't. But this was amazing that you brought to me, because I do schedule a lot of things, but the rhythms, I hadn't looked at it that way. And so it was even helpful for me with older kids. You know, my youngest is 7, my oldest is 11. With older-ish, like they're not teens yet. So with older-ish kids, that this was extremely helpful. So yeah, no, I love the framework, and it's something I use, and I've put it in multiple places, and I'm excited. I think that it all is very relevant for everybody, even dads, even people who don't have kids yet, right? Start the rhythm before you have your kids, and then you can change the rhythms as they're born or as they come. So yeah.
Perfect. I think that's an awesome segue into it. So we're just going to live it out, honestly, and or show you, I should say. And it's going to be 4 different questions that I'm going to ask Ashley, and she's going to be open and honest and share with you because it's helped her, and I know that she's okay with sharing some insights into business and mom or motherhood overall. So with that, I'm just going to look at my computer because I have them written down so I say the right things. Talking about being a mom and working at the same time. Got the computer open, he's down here playing, and I'm talking to you. So we're doing great. But in that, the first question is, and again, moms that are watching or parents that are watching, because like Ashley said, it could be used for moms and dads. I really recommend you writing these down, and I'll also put these specific questions in the description after we're done with the live. The first one is, what am I focusing on in this season of life? And to write all of those down. So the example I have, just to get your mind thinking, is motherhood, church, business, and you can go on from there. So Ashley, if you'd like to answer that when you're ready.
Yeah, so I on mine, and some of these things I'm not doing anymore. I was doing PTO stuff at the school, so I had that because that was one of my focuses. My business, my coaching, my husband's business, helping him in whatever way I can, and Jesus as a consistent in my life, and then for the kids too. And then another thing I have listed is homeschooling, because that's where we're going in this journey. And this is our first year homeschooling. So few different things in different places that I wrote down in that section.
Perfect. Thank you very much. He's moving on me, so that's why you guys get to see a different angle of my desk than I normally show. The second one is, ask God, what rhythm am I supposed to have in this season of life? And write down anything that comes to mind. And I want to preface with this one, I'm not asking you to rush through these questions. I really recommend taking the time and sitting with it. The reason Ashley can just spit the answers out is because we've walked through this before, so it's already kind of processed through. So I don't want you to sit here and be like, "Oh, they've got it perfect," because we don't. So I'll hand that over to you, Ashley.
Yeah, I think it would help if you paused the video and just took a minute to brainstorm and write down. But I would say when we were doing this together in our meeting, it was helpful for me to just to just write down whatever first came to mind, because that honestly was what God placed on my heart in that very moment. And so initially writing down everything that I had thought of kind of helped me with the brain dump too, and to get it all out. So if you take too much time, you might stress over it being the right or wrong answer. But I mean, honestly, just writing down the first thing that comes to mind is helpful, and you can add more in later on. But for the rhythms that I'm supposed to have in this season of life, first thing that came to mind, and it's changed a little bit, but to have my coaching structured and really get the awareness out about it. So talking to people, connecting with people, sharing on social media, that kind of thing. Potential for a W-2 job, if that's what this season looks like for me, was another thing. And then strengthening church conversations with my kids is another thing that I wrote down. So being able to set up that rhythm and really focusing in on talking to them about it, exposing them to it more, because I hadn't been as consistent with it in the past. We talked about it some here and there, but it wasn't a consistent conversation. So that's what I wrote down for the rhythms that I'm supposed to have during the season of life.
Thank you for sharing that. If I sing, it's because I'm talking to the little one. Yeah.
I keep singing back to you.
With that, so I also want to go more specifically in the difference of what a rhythm is compared to balance, and this is the definition that I got right off of Google to show the difference. And the rhythm is strong, regular, and repeated pattern of movement, sound, or action. So the aspect there that I really want to highlight is it's a strong regular pattern, meaning that if there's days that go wonky, that's a-okay. It's just the consistency, and whatever the consistency looks like for you in this season. For example, in one of the ones that Ashley shared of working your business, if that's working 2 days a week, 4 days a week, 3 days a week, whatever it is, that's still consistent for the season of life. And then for balance, it's state of physical and mental stability achieved through even distribution of weight, forces, elements. So really what I think of as a balanced scale, and how it's 50-50, and how that is honestly impossible to be able to do in the season of life with raising littles, regardless of how old they are, and being in business. So with that, the third step that I want to ask is, from the first list to the second list, what action steps need to be taken this week to improve the rhythm?
Yeah. So with the aspect of, if there's anything that I need to adjust to improve on, this is where I was able to focus in and say, okay, so in order for those rhythms to be played out, what do I need to implement now? That's how kind of I looked at it. And so my first one was that I need to have 2 hours of set time for building the business, because like I was telling you earlier, I can't get much done in just an hour, because that takes me that little bit of time to focus, and then I get into something, and then I have 30 minutes to finish it, and then it's time, that hour's up. So scheduling in only 1 hour doesn't make sense. So 2 hours on those times where I need to do coaching. And then also putting in daily time with Jesus with the kids. So scheduling that. And then also I was doing PTO stuff, but scheduling out PTO stuff was another thing on the list, which that is no longer relevant because that was taken care of. So with the homeschooling. But those are my immediate steps that I had thought out.
Thank you for sharing that. And the fact that you have the PTO things on there, it reminds me to tell those that are listening that this is something that you don't want to do just once and be done. As you see in this example, like, things have changed in Ashley's circumstances or life, so she doesn't have the PTO stuff anymore. That's probably going to happen in your case as well. So this is something that I would recommend doing either quarterly with the business or every 6 months. It just really depends on what season of life you're in and how much things are changing. Obviously, things change differently on different ages of kids and so on and so forth.
Yep.
And with that one, I need to scroll down on my computer to make sure I have the right. So the last question I have is, what is 2 to 3 things that you can put on your schedule every day to have the rhythm? So example of that would be Mondays are the day that I reach out to all the people in my community. Tuesdays are the days that I don't work on business at all because I'm with the family. Whatever that looks like for you and your schedule.
Yeah, and the way that I implemented that, I did a Monday through Friday, like wrote out each day, and then put 2 to 3 topics for each day. And so I have my Tuesdays and Thursdays are coaching days, and then I have like one of them is content and one of them is outreach for coaching. Because of we have a group meeting, and so it helps. I'm focused on one topic on one day and focus on another topic another day. And then another thing that I've now added after we talked is our homeschooling hours. So I have a block on each day for our homeschooling hours when I'm doing things with the kids, and then I also put a block on there for when I get to jump in and help with my husband's business stuff. So I have a time block for those and I spread them out. So Mondays and Wednesdays, I'm doing my husband's stuff. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm doing my stuff. Uh, and then every day in the mornings, I'm doing the homeschooling. So I was able to spread them out that way.
Awesome. Thank you very much for sharing all of that. The two other aspects that came to mind when you were saying that for those that are listening is both Ashley and I highly recommend Google Calendar to block off your times and to, if you want to be very specific, color code and all the things that Google Calendar allows you to do. And then the other aspect that I wanted to point out is recommend you not to write out just a to-do list throughout your day, but to go and put these different rhythms in for each day. So then you know, oh, today's this and this, like Ashley was saying, and that will set you up for better success in it because then it'll show what the importance of the season. And with that, as you can hear, my time is being shortened because and I definitely don't want to go on a bad aspect of there. So with that, thank you so much, Ashley, for coming on and sharing this insight with me. And would you like to add anything else before we close out?
No, I would second your Google Calendar. I live and die by my Google Calendar because I can share it with my husband and I can move things around and access it from my phone or my computer. And the time or the color blocking, y'all should see my calendar. It's very detailed. But yes, it's doable and everything can be changed and moved. And they even have a task list, a to-do list thing in Google Calendar. Which is a cool whole other aspect. So, but anyways, send a message, shoot us something if you want to break it down further and talk more about it. Rachel's great with her suggestions there, and then I can jump in and help too if y'all need anything. And little man needs love. So thank you for including me today.
Thank you all so much. And like Ashley said, if you want to comment your takeaways and anything else, how we can help you in the comments, drop that below. And then I'll also put the link if you'd like to hop on a coaching call with me to dive into this further and do one-on-one. I will walk you right through this like I walked with Ashley. I would absolutely love to be able to do that. So until we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.